So we are starting today, we'll learn today halachot, as we said, the halachot of Seudah Shlishit and the halachot of Melave Malca. And it's very much connected to the halachot of Lechem Mishneh. We learned last week and the week beforehand, the halachot of the 2 loaves of bread, and it's very much connected. First, it's connected because do we need 2 loaves of bread in Seudah Shlishit? Yes or no? So that's one connection. I'm very happy to see you here, Danny.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so we're
Yeah.
here. Okay. And so first it's connected because we eat bread or don't eat bread in Seudah Shlishit. So that's one connection to it. Secondly, and that's we're repeating what we learned 2 weeks ago. How do we learn the idea of Lechem Mishneh? Where does Lechem Mishneh come from? Haman, the man, right? And in the man, it says in the pasuk, and we read it 2 weeks ago, Ichluhu hayom, Ichluhu ki Shabbat hayom laHashem. So 3 times it says in the pasuk, eat the man. And from the fact it says from the pasuk 3 times, eat the man, our sages learned it's not a Torah law, according to him. It's a rabbinical law, but they connected that to the pasuk that one should eat 3 meals on Shabbat. One should eat 3 meals on Shabbat. Okay. How do we eat 3 meals on Shabbat? So typically on those days, they used to eat 2 meals a day, 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening. So on Friday you have the Friday day not connected to Shabbat. Friday night, that's already connected to Shabbat. Shabbat day, we have a meal which is connected to Shabbat. Then typically after Shabbat, you would be eating another meal. After nighttime, you'll be eating another meal. Our sages wanted this to show that Shabbat is different, it's a different day, it's a special day. How do you show Shabbat is a special day? By food. They say Jews, everything by food, right? We say Purim, someone wanted to kill us, we won, okay, let's eat. But food connects people.
Or the wine.
Or wine, right, or wine. But food is also very, very physical, and we mentioned a few times that the idea of Shabbat is to uplift the physical world into a spiritual level. So the idea of Seudah Shlishit is to show that Shabbat is a special day. So the meal that we would usually eat at the end of Shabbat, we eat during Shabbat. Around Mincha time, and we'll get to when exactly very, very soon. So the main purpose of Seudah Shlishit is to show that Shabbat is a special day. And that brings up a question. And we'll be learning today Simanim Reish Tzadi Aleph 291 for Seudah Shlishit, and then Siman Shin. I'm not going to, because they're short Simanim, I'm not going to follow exactly the order in the Simanim, but to give the general halachot from
Seudah Shlishit, a mitzvah, because many people don't do it.
Or they do it in a different fashion.
Yeah, in a different fashion.
Yes.
So that's the exact question. What is Seudah Shlishit? Okay, so that's the Shulchan Aruch starts the siman. Yehe zahir meod lekayem Seudah Shlishit. Just be very careful to do Seudah Shlishit. And the Mishnah Berurah quotes the Gemara. Chayav Adam le'echol Shalosh Seudot b'Shabbat. A person is obligated to eat 3 Seudot on Shabbat. So according to the Gemara, it's an obligation. It's an obligation. And it's not just a simple obligation, it's also it's based on a pasuk or maybe lean, like we call it an asmachta. It's not a Torah law, but it's Chazal wanted to strengthen us so they're connected to a pasuk. It says 3 times of eat it today about the man. Now the Shulchan Aruch here continues. If a person he ate too much, it's a winter day until they finish shul, he ate a huge meal. There's no way he can eat now. It's called chilagasai. It's stuffing himself up. He doesn't need to eat. He doesn't need to I don't know, sacrifice his body, yeah, or to be painful because to feel nauseated because of eating. And the Mishnah Berurah explains that the whole purpose of eating is to have joy. And if I don't have joy, so there's no point in eating. Yeah, a similar halacha, although not connected to Shalosh Seudot, is someone who had a bad dream. Now, in those days, it was very common. someone who had a bad dream, to fast. Bad dream is to Tanit Chalom, it's called a fast because of the dream. And people who didn't fast on the day, right, the morning, on the day after the dream, they felt lost, and they felt terrified or scared. People used to take a lot of attention to the dreams and a lot of meaning to the dreams. So usually on Shabbat we don't fast, unless it's Yom Kippur. Ta'anit Chalom, one is allowed to fast on Shabbat. Afterwards, you have to fast again because he has to do kapara for fasting on Shabbat. Okay, so he gains 2 for the price of 1. But because he's bothered so much because of the stream, and also the fasting helps only on that day, so he's allowed to fast. Today, I've never heard of someone who is bothered so much by a dream that he'll fast or even fast on a regular day. Okay, so anyway, so Shabbat is for joy, and if eating causes us, we are bothered by it. So if someone ate 2 maybe meal, so he doesn't need to eat Sudash Lashit. But the Shulchan Aruch continues, a wise person, he sees ahead, and he doesn't eat too much at the morning meal or the lunch meal, so he will be able to eat Sudash Lashit. So that's the Shulchan Aruch. We mentioned that the whole purpose of Seudah Shlishit, or Shalosh Seudot, is to show that Shabbat is a different day. It's something special, something unique. We don't eat on the nighttime, we eat during the daytime. All the 3 meals. And you ask a question. Does it mean I need to eat bread? Or it means I can just have snacks, eat cake, eat whiskey and chips, like sometimes we have here, right? So how do we do Seudah Shlishit?
We've been learning.
If we're learning doesn't appear in the Shulchan Aruch.
I've heard that opinion.
Yeah, there is an opinion like that. It's more of a Hasidish opinion.
Ah,
And I'm not sure, but my guess, it's only my guess, that it's based on the fact that they used to eat already in the morning, and then they also have Bokid before Shachris, after Shachris, and then you have another meal. So although the second meal must be on bread,
it's covered already.
okay, so it's covered already. Now the first 2 meals must be on bread. Okay, so a person didn't eat on the nighttime needs to eat bread. Same or bread that can be from any 5 of the 5 grains. It needs to be on bread. Also, the second meal needs to be on bread. Okay, so a person needs to eat at least a kabetzai, at least a kazait of bread on the nighttime and on the day. Okay, and what about Seudah Shlishit? Now, the obligation to eat bread on the first 2 meals has also another meaning, which isn't in the Simon. Since we're learning and we mentioned brachot, so it's worth it to mention it. Let's say someone at the nighttime ate a nice meal, he sang, had Torah, he gets to Birkat Hamazon, and he forgets to say Retzeh. Does he have to repeat Birkat Hamazon or no? So we have a rule. If the meal is an obligation because of that day, also the Birkat Hamazon with all of the whatever connected to Birkat Hamazon is an obligation. If on Shabbat we need to eat bread, also say Birkat Hamazon with Retzeh is an obligation. And if we forgot to say Retzeh, we have to repeat Birkat Hamazon. So in the nighttime and the first meal on the daytime, one forgot to say Retzeh, he needs to repeat Birkat Hamazon. Because it's an obligation to eat bread. Since it's an obligation to eat bread because of Shabbat, it's also an obligation to say Birkat Hamazon with Retzeh. One forgot Retzeh, so he needs to repeat with all Birkat Hamazon. Okay, so that's for the first 2 meals. That's the Shlishit. And it has 2 meanings. First, do I need to eat bread? Can I eat cake? Can I eat chicken? Shulchan? We had when we used to live in Beit El. So I'm not sure if it's an American minhag, but it's the Americans who brought it. In the summer, there was great wind with 900 meters above sea level. You could see Tel Aviv. You could see on 2 weeks a year, you could see the Hermon mountain, like a great weather outside. And in the summer, the Americans used to live in caravans. The caravan was small, and they used to take out food, and we have Seudah Shlishit, and then slowly it became all the neighborhoods, or most of the neighborhoods, like minhag, that Seudah Shlishit in the summer, we go outside and eat Seudah Shlishit as a neighborhood together. Each one brings something small. Now, so I'm not sure why that. Some of the American family used to make a big shulent in a big crock pot, and used to return it to the platter, to the crock pot. And for Seudah Shlishit, used to have shulent. Okay, shulent for Seudah Shlishit. Okay, so it was a real Seudah Shlishit with shulent, and one of them even put broccoli inside the shulent the first time, and the only time I think I saw broccoli in shulent. Yeah, I'm not even broccoli in shulent. Yeah, I never tried it. I mean, I never tried it myself. Okay. But let's say, can I eat meat? Okay, can I eat shulent? Do I need to eat bread? Do I need to eat bread? You can guess. Let's guess the answer.
No.
Machloket, exactly. Yeah. Machloket. So let's think of the, before we go into the opinions, let's think of the logic. On one hand, it's based on Ichlu Hayom, on the man, right? And the man was like bread. So on one hand, maybe it should be on bread, like the rest of the meals. Like the man was bread, so also here we should be eating bread. On the other hand, one man was like bread. Okay. It was for them for the desert. It was considered bread. We learn also the amount of hafashat challah. When we make dough, how much flour do we need for it to be obligated in challah? So we learn it from the man. So although maybe the man wasn't bread, but it's called lechem min hashamayim, bread from heaven, so heavenly bread. And we learn halachot about our bread from the man. Yeah, so when we get to a question of 1.6 kilos, 2.2 kilos, it's really a question of how big was the man, what volume was the man, and how do you change volume of flour or wheat to weight of flour. So that's how we get to the different opinions. And so on one hand, it's bread. On the other hand, if all the point of Seudah Shlishit is to show that Shabbat is a special day, you add another meal. So maybe you don't need bread. Maybe it's enough just to have cake or to have fruit, even fruit. Okay, so as you said, right, there's a few opinions. The Shulchan Aruch brings a few opinions. You have to do it on bread. First opinion. Another opinion, you can do it from anything made out of the 5 grains. Second opinion. Another opinion, third opinion, can be from everything which is usually eaten together with bread. Doesn't need to be bread, but anything that you eat in a meal, like chicken, like shulent, okay, like something which you eat as part of as a meal. And the fourth opinion, is you can even have Seudah Shlishit with fruit. Even fruit, just have a few fruit, you can have Seudah Shlishit with that. The Shulchan Aruch says that the best thing is bread. The main opinion is you have to eat Seudah Shlishit on bread. But unless someone is too full, so take a fruit afterwards and eat Seudah Shlishit. Buy a fruit. The fact that first today we just used to snacking the whole time, right? So maybe today we should really sit down for Seudah Shlishit, or have in mind to be Seudah Shlishit. In olden times it was okay, you eat in the morning, evening, and that's it.
It should be after mincha.
After mincha, that's the next topic. We're getting exactly when is Seudah Shlishit. Before mincha, after mincha, we'll get to it in just a moment. So especially today, maybe Seudah Shlishit should be with bread. Not bread, cake, something that you sit down. If not, so if someone's too full, he's running, it's a winter Shabbat, he finished eating at 1 o'clock and mincha at 4 o'clock. When do you have time to eat? Sit down at least, sit down. Show it's a special day. That's about what do we eat. There's one exception where everyone agrees that we do not eat bread for Seudah Shlishit. You can guess when don't we eat bread on Seudah Shlishit? Yom Kippur isn't an option. Erev Pesach. If Erev Pesach is on Shabbat, you can't eat bread. It's after, you can't eat chametz already. And we don't eat matzah on the day before Pesach, so then maybe you eat cooked matzah, you eat fruit, there's other ways of doing it. I have a friend who he used to go to the opinion that maybe Seudah Shlishit can be even early in the morning, we'll see. And he used to wake up early, have bread, go for a short walk, have more bread, and then his seudah. But then it means that he ate all of his bread before. Okay, so anyway, so we said that Seudah Shlishit should be with bread, and if someone is too full, So he should at least fruit. What about lechem mishneh? Also here, preferably with lechem mishneh, and if not, also one loaf of bread is enough. Okay, so that's
Or a slice of
one slice of bread. Yeah, one slice of bread.
bread. Slice. Regular, like
Yeah.
not whole, not like one whole challah, one mini challah. But if you
Yeah.
had like sliced bread, it's better than.
Yeah. Okay. So that's yeah. Interesting here. The connection between Agada and stories and halachas. There's an interesting connection here. Why two breads on Sudash sheet? Okay, so each day one omer went down of man. From that omer, they made 2 loaves of bread. Okay, so one omer has 2 loaves of bread. Friday, there were 2 omerim, which means 4 loaves of bread. 1 loaf they ate on Friday morning. Okay, 1 loaf they ate on Friday night. 1 loaf they ate on Shabbat day. So sheet, you have only 1 loaf of bread left. That's why there's an opinion. So for Sudash sheet, you do not need 2 loaves of bread.
Didn't it fall according to the amount of the family?
According to the person, to each person got an amount of 1 omer. From that, he typically divided it into 2 because he used to eat in the morning and the evening. So we mentioned that on the 2 first meals, if one forgot to say Retzeh, he needs to repeat Birkat Hamazon. What about Sudash Lashit? Since there's an argument, there's a machloket, if we need to eat bread, maybe there's no obligation of eating bread. Obviously, we should say Birkat Hamazon with Retzeh. But if someone ate Birkat Hamazon, ate Sudash Lashit with bread and he forgot Retzeh, so for Sudash Lashit, it does not need to repeat it because maybe there's no obligation of eating bread on Sudash Lashit. When do we eat Suda? Right? When do we eat Sudash Lashit? So Shulchan Aruch says Sudash Lashit is from a bit after midday. It's 6.5 hours after sunrise. So from the point of the Shabbat aspect, as soon as it's not the morning meal, so now we can have the second Suda. I can have the Sudash Lashit. As soon as it's a bit after Chatzot, half an hour after Chatzot, we can have Sudash Lashit. Before Mincha, after Mincha, from the Shabbat aspect, there's no difference when to have Sudash Lashit. Why do you say after Mincha? From the Mincha aspect, from the davening aspect, that Sudash Lashit should be after Mincha, or preferably should be after Mincha. Because we do not start a big meal, we don't start a big meal before Mincha. We are scared that someone will be carried on to his meal and he'll eat and talk and choose, and then all of a sudden, no, Mincha is over. So from the davening aspect, we shouldn't eat Sudash Lashit before Mincha. But if someone is, let's say he's running, he doesn't have time after Mincha. He's eating in any case a small meal. He's just eating a snack, a cake, a piece of cake. He's not sitting down now for a full meal and doesn't eat. So a person can eat Sudash Lashit before Mincha. Okay, so preferably Sudash Lashit should be after Mincha. That's from the davening aspect. But if someone needs to, so you can have Sudash Lashit also before Mincha, as long as he makes sure it doesn't get carried on. It doesn't have now a big meal with wine. It's just a small, a few pieces of cake. That is fine.
Already to daven, serve Hashem before you serve yourself.
So that's especially on the morning. Okay, first Shachrit comes first. The rest of the meal, in any case, Mincha comes in the middle of between things. Second, the Sudash Lashit on Shabbat isn't just serving us. It's because we want to. Shabbat is special. Because so that's why. And sometimes it's needed. So some shuls, daven Mincha so late that there's no time to have Sudash Lashit afterwards. So or sometimes or something. There's no Sudash Lashit. So you have beforehand. I used to have a charuta once between Mincha and Ma'ariv. That was the only time in the week we could find to learn. Learning is important. What I do to Sudash Lashit, I can't see not learn Torah with someone, right? So I used to eat before Mincha and daven Mincha, and then and Mincha was very, very late also. There wasn't time in between. So that's an option.
You have that hypothetically. What happens if you're used to eating at 1 o'clock in the afternoon?
Yeah.
And not hungry. I mean,
So,
or,
what people do is they go to the early minyan with Danny. They have a meal beforehand. They have a meal right after the early minyan. A short, small meal, hamotzi, and then they rest. And at 1 o'clock they have the main meal. That's
we don't do, but
Yeah.
cakes.
Okay.
We have a regular meal also at 12, but again, if you
You should have at least something small
if you
around
can always
mincha.
take a bite of
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
It's something small.
Given that, could you have a small meal, let's say, go to the holy menu, a small meal before, right after davening, and then your main meal, which would serve as Suda Shlishit later?
Yeah. So as long as the
Okay.
first meal, the morning meal, is with bread,
Bread, right?
so you can have a small meal with bread in the morning, and then the main meal will be after mincha. You go daven mincha gdola, and then you have Suda Shlishit, mincha gdola.
At that time.
That time.
Okay.
Let's go very, very fast over Melave Malca. So there's just one seif in Shulchan Aruch, Siman Shin of Melave Malca, and the person should have also Melave Malca. Okay, the person should have also Melave Malca, a meal after Shabbat. A meal after Shabbat. There's a few reasons for this meal after Shabbat, but first the halachot of it. It's important. It's not an obligation as Seudah Shlichit. And if someone is too full, so he shouldn't eat Melave Malca. Some people preferably eat bread, but also some people just eat something small from Melave Malca. Some people cook for themselves new food, but the Mishnah Berurah says you do not need to cook something special, especially from Melave Malca. You can just have leftover. Okay, so that's the Melave Malca. What's the idea of it? Well, a few ideas are brought from it. One is to show it's like when the king comes to you and he visits you. So just before he leaves, you do like a small meal to say goodbye to him. So Shabbat is leaving and Shabbat is the queen. So Hashem is with us. We say, okay, we'll just have a small meal before Shabbat ends. So that's one of the reasons brought for Melave Malca. Another reason is brought, and that's more of a midrash, that there's one bone in the person called niskoi or luz or niskoi, that this bone gets its nutrients or its food and only in Melave Malca. So when Adam ate, we'll soon explain maybe a bit of it. When Adam ate from the Etz Hadat, this bone didn't eat from Etz Hadat because he ate from Etz Hadat on Friday. So this bone stays forever. It stays forever. And when a person eats from Melave Malca, so he's bringing life giving life to the bone, and from that bone, a person that's how the body starts growing from this bone. That's rational. And I thought of the meaning of it is that Shabbat is like a whole, it's Mein Olam Haba. We spoke a few times about Mein Olam Haba, and there's such a holy day, and even the food becomes holy, and the bread becomes holy, and everything we do in Shabbat is holy. And the idea of Judaism is to show that there's a connection between them. There's a connection between the holiness and our world. How do you show the connection? Right as we go into the regular weekdays, we say, no, don't think it's something separated. It's the same thing. It's influenced by the weekdays are influenced by Shabbat. Same as Kriyat HaMetim, our bodies will be influenced by Olam Haba. There will be such a great influence from the holiness and spirituality of Olam Haba that even the dead bodies will come back to life because there's a connection, and our world can absorb light, and can absorb the greatness from Olam Haba. So this point is more as a symbolic thing. How do we show the connection of spiritual world, the world to come, our world? Same as we show the connection between Shabbat and the weekdays. Instead of running right after Shabbat to the WhatsApp and internet and work, we say, 1 second, Shabbat has an influence on the weekdays. And let's take a bit of the holiness of Shabbat into the weekdays and uplift all of our life.
But can't you have the meal also a couple hours later? Let's say
So-
you want to clean up, you want to maybe let the food digest a little more.
Right.
You have a tayavon.
So, great question. The Mishnah Berurah says that preferably the meal should be as close as possible to Shabbat. Oh, the connection to Shabbat. But if someone is full, or like the summer, okay, he has to clean up, he wants maybe to cook something, he can also have it later, but not after Chatzot, not after midnight. Until midnight, it's still somehow it's connected to Shabbat. So we're still thinking of Shabbat. When we get to midnight, it's already okay. Now it's already Sunday. We separate ourselves from Shabbat. So we went over fast, Shalosh and Melave Malca. And next week we have to decide the topic if we're going to Havdalah or going to Brachot, and we'll discuss it afterwards together.